Everton 1, Wolves 2, leaving it to the dying moments of the game, and it was an absolute cracker. Dean Saunders is here. My name's Shaban. We're in for White and Jordan. Hope you're having a good one today. Dino, you picked a good one to go to yesterday.
Yes, it was a great game to watch. I can see why both teams are struggling. Goal instincts again. Obviously, what we're talking about with Dele Alli having that instinct. They haven't got enough players in the squads who actually can nick goals or, get it right at the right moment. All 8 defenders on show made mistakes. All of them. Mm-hmm. Jordan Pickford made 2 mistakes in the first 5 minutes. Playing out from the back, give the ball twice. Wolves can't finish him off when they get the chances. Getting it wrong. Costa's had a great chance. Free header. But at the other end, they've scored a goal from a corner. And then Anthony Gordon has had 2 great chances to make it 2-0 with the crowd were right behind Everton. Go on, finish him off. But they couldn't. So Wolves were coming out playing well. In the middle third, both teams were playing well. Linking passes together. I always felt Costa was going to get on the end of something. And in the end, they sort of both nervously settled for sort of not losing the game. And the game sort of calmed down a bit. And then the Wolves manager changes to a back 5-4-1, taking the point. Last kick of the game, they break away and they get 4 bodies in the box, to be fair to them. Mm-hmm. And Traore, come on, cross the ball. They get a goal and win the points. Yeah. Massive 3 points. Absolutely.
And fair play to Julian Lopetegui as well. His first game in charge of Wolves. Did you notice a difference in their performance as well?
No. I mean, before the game, I looked through all the players' stats. I said this earlier about the goals they've scored in their career. And I was looking at the midfield. Moutinho, for example, who's a really good player. He's played 147 games for Portugal, scored 7. So I was just looking at their international goals, what they've done in their careers, and then I went on to the Wolves goals. There's hardly any goals in the squad apart from Jimenez and Costa, who are not the men they used to be. Yeah. So they need some players who can actually nick goals, wide players or midfield players, both teams.
Do you think they'll do that in the January transfer window? Watching that performance yesterday?
Well, he's got to. And they can't. They've hardly scored any goals all season. If you're not scoring goals, you're in big trouble.
Talk to me about Everton as well, because like you say, describing the game, they take the lead and then they would be looking to take the point. That has got to be a not great Christmas, then when that happens on Boxing Day, when they are in the lead, but it happened again. Why is this happening to Everton?
Well, I mean, the fans are brilliant. I have to say, and the end of last season, they kept them up. Outside the ground was just, it was like, unbelievable. It was like the streets were just packed with people who couldn't get in the stadium. The fans kept them up. But this year, they can't rely on the fans. Mm-hmm. As I said, they've started the game off well. He left Amari Gray out and played Dwight McNeil on the left. He played Maupay up the middle, who's not a goal scorer. You can see how Brighton have let him go. Technically, really good. Comes off, gets it, does all the right things with the ball, but doesn't get in where it matters. He's got clean through and messed that up. Anthony Gordon's messed a few up. You can't tell a player how to finish a chance. You can't teach them. It's instinct. And there's not enough of them got the instinct to do the right thing at the right time. They need someone who's going to get players who are going to get 10 goals a season all over the pitch.
So you've been talking about this quite a lot on the show today. If you are just joining us, Dean's not being shy at being clear when players aren't performing. They have their job to do. And if you were the manager, you'd be looking to get rid of them after a spell of time if they're not performing. So obviously it's a different case for Everton. They need goal scorers in. They need to make changes. And what does this mean for Frank Lampard moving forward this season? What does he have to do? Is it simple? Is it just keep them up? Is that the ambition for Everton now?
Yeah, I've got no axe to grind. I wouldn't sack him. Mm-hmm. I think he's picking the pieces up of somebody else's mess. He's trying to put a team together and get a spirit together. Yeah. He's relying on a few young lads. They've had injuries. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin's nearly fit every week. Yeah. Every week, Calvert-Lewin, have you noticed? He's nearly fit. Back in training. He can't get on the pitch.
It's a shame, though. It's a shame, though. It's like one injury, then another comes off the back of that.
He's unlucky.
It's unlucky for players like that. It happens to a lot of people. But, you said the fans were excellent last season. They were brilliant yesterday. And then the boos rang out around Goodison Park yesterday afternoon as Frank Lampard's Everton lost 2-1 to relegation rivals at Wolves. And after the match, Lampard spoke about the progression of his side since his arrival.
we were always going to be in another battle of some sorts this year because of where we were last year was a reality, and you lose Richarlison, who was a big force for us in the top end of the pitch, and then we haven't really had Dumfit, if I'm honest, this season. So, you know, big players and big things like that will affect. We have to try and find the right team solutions in terms of how we improve the squad. But I think the reality was that we were never going to be in much different than the fight that we're in some form. Could we have some more points on the board? Yeah, for certain reasons, certain games. But we haven't, so we just have to keep going.
Frank Lampard, Everton boss, speaking after the game yesterday after that 2-1 loss to relegation rivals at Wolves. Watching the performance from both, Dean, it's never a nice conversation to have, but who looks likely to be going down? Is it either of these teams?
I think it's too early to say, but like look at Wolves yesterday. They win the game. They're out the bottom three. Win again. Mm-hmm. You're up where Villa are. Yeah. No one's adrift. No one's in desperate trouble yet. Struggling, I would use the word struggling. West Ham are struggling. Everton are struggling. Forest are struggling. Southampton are struggling. But 2 wins, we've seen it happen, changes everything, and someone else slides into it's like the manhole, isn't it, with the water running in it. Whatever you do, keep out the manhole because this team's trying to stay out of it.
It's just such a massive club, and Everton having never been relegated, it feels like, would you be surprised if it happened this time?
Yeah, I would. I mean, they've lost Richarlison. You've seen the 2 goals he scored in the World Cup. Like, unbelievable. Both goals, nearly. I mean, I gave him goal of the tournament, both of them, and second. You know, but the overhead kick. They've lost him. Calvert-Lewin, they've lost. There's the 2 main strikers that would get him enough goals to keep him away from the trap door. I mean, saying that, they've been there a while. But he's building, and he's got build. He's built. He needs another window, or maybe another one. He needs to just, like, steady the ship. They've wasted 500 million. And when you go through it, Martinez, manager of Belgium, went on and done better. Ancelotti went to Real Madrid, won the Champions League. Ronald Koeman goes to Barcelona. Silva's at Fulham, playing total football. So it's not the managers, it's the same group of players who are there. They're not producing the goods. Dwight McNeil, I'm mentioning here, I like Dwight McNeil, he's a good player. This is my vision of Dwight McNeil, and I would have signed him because all he done was shift the ball back on his right foot and crossed it on Chris Wood's head or Ashley Barnes. Delivery, early. Love to play with him. That's why you sign him. Yesterday, didn't do it. Why? I'd say to him, it's not Frank Lampard's fault. That's why I signed you. Do your job, or you're not going to play.
Well, something else must be amiss there if there's a group of players not doing it. You know, there has to be bigger problems. You have to take that in consideration. Or is it just, from your point of view, it seems like it's all the onus would be on the player?
Well, all them great managers couldn't get a tune out of that lot. And Frank's struggling to get a tune out of them. So they can't all be wrong. But when you've wasted 500 million and there's nothing left in the pot, how's he going to change it round? He's going to have to, like, sort of beg and borrow and for a bit until they got a new stadium, which is unbelievable, by the way.
Oh, did you enjoy it?
No, I wasn't there. They haven't built it yet. But,
sorry.
That's coming.
Yes.
That's coming. I mean,
but did you enjoy it?
I missed the first goal because the pillar at Goodison was in my way. So they've still got pillars. They've still got them wooden seats. It's a great stadium, and it'd be shame to see it go. But it's not Frank Lampard's fault.
When you're going down, they've got major problems. Who would you bring in this window if you can? If you could bring in a proven goal scorer, who would it be?
Players with a bit of hunger and want to, actually. You look at Man United, the players he's brought in. They all want, you look at Martinez, his attitude. Players like that who actually want to play, want to win. They're not in a bubble on 100 grand a week thinking I'm doing all right. No, you're not doing all right. And because they're on that much money, you can't get rid of them. And there's loads of players doing it. I'm watching them. Are you giving me everything you've got? No, you're not. Simple as that. Don't look at me. My tactics are wrong. My training's wrong. Sort yourself out. Produce the goods. That's why you're on 100 grand a week.
Jeez, there's no sitting on the fence from Dean Saunders today, is there? It's
amazing.
You're filled with it. Absolutely filled with it. You're listening to talkSPORT.
That's why I got sacked.